Yeah, he told me that it had to do with the number of feathers they wore had to do with the number of women they had. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? He's like, yeah. He's like, you notice how some people, some of the only men wore only the men wore the feathers. If the women wore them, they were just decorative. But only the men wore the feathers, with the style and the head bonnets, the big bonnets with all the feathers, yada yada. It's like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing any pictures or anything about, with the women wearing more than maybe a little bit of decorative, Gotta look good for their man, right? So he was like, then he told me about this time that he's like, cause he's like, I didn't grow up on a reservation. He's like, my father didn't believe in, he left as soon as he could. He didn't believe in that. He believed that, we were born to be free people. So he left. And anyway, the deal was, he was telling me about how he went back to visit some family that was there. And they were having some kind of party going on, and what's her name? Barbara Wawa? What was her name? Walters, yeah. Yeah, Barbara Wawa, to those of you that don't understand Saturday Night Live, was a Gilda Radner skit way back in the day. Anyway, he was telling me about how she was there, doing some kind of documentary on his people and shit. And she asked the same thing, It's like, and they told her the same thing. And she probably, the way I figured, she probably figured it was the same thought running through her head that was running through my head when he was telling me, yeah, right, man, you're full of shit. What is this, like a joke? Right? But he said, no, the guy that told her, go ask anybody, It was like, there's a dude, got 3 feathers, ask him. She went up and asked him, he got like 3 women hanging around him, and he's like, she didn't even need to ask. Then she seen this one guy, man, right, that was like dressed up in the buckskin, had the big ass war bonnet. Must have had a trail of feathers, man, run behind him about 40 foot. Yeah, man. So she walked up to him and asked him, okay, now I know you ain't got this many women. And he looked at her and was like, excuse me? He's like, all the feathers. He's like, oh, yeah, well, see, the reason we use the feathers is because, we believe that if a man can handle 20 women and take care of them, more power to you, bruh, right? So instead of the wedding ring thing, try to get 50 rings on your finger once. And it's like, she's like, man, you should be hung. And he was like, hung? Oh yeah, baby, I am hung. I'm big like a buffalo, long like a snake. She's like, oh dear. He got this look on his face like God had basically just whispered in his ear, hey, you got about 2 minutes to live. He just shook his head and said, I never had a deer. Ass is too high and they run too fast. But it's worth it for the drugs I
The opinions expressed in this song are not necessarily those of Spalpinoco or its subsidiaries. Progenitor Vox is not available anywhere. Offer void in Wisconsin. Any resemblance to actual drugs, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Any unauthorized use of your own judgment in the application of Progenitor Vox is strictly prohibited. Progenitor Vox may not be reproduced without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Progenitor Vox may cause drowsiness or restlessness in lab animals. Do not resume sexual activity while operating heavy machinery without consulting your physician. For erections lasting longer than 4 hours, insert your own joke here. If you experience psychotic episodes, you're crazy. If death occurs, discontinue use of Progenitor Vox immediately. If symptoms persist, consult your physician. All sales final. Batteries not included.
For the drugs I need.